welcome back to the Audacity. I'm here with Haley and Rachel, and we're so glad that you guys are back.
Yeah, this is honestly such an honor that you guys continue to show up and listen.
All three of you.
all three. Hi, Mom.
Seriously.
Well, ladies, how was your week?
It was good. Mine was, my week was busy. Barrett had football, Liv had soccer. It was Barrett's birthday. You guys, I have a 10-year-old.
Oh, it's happy birthday to Barrett.
Oh, so crazy to me how time goes, like just how fast it goes.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good. I got way too drunk on Saturday and I'm still recovering. I thought I lost my jacket, but I found it in the garage by my boots because I didn't want to wake everyone up when I got home at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Like, welcome to adulthood. You have a 10-year-old and you're losing clothes.
I even text messaged like two of my girlfriends that I was with, and I was like, they're like, did you get home safe? And I was like, yeah. I was like, but I lost my jacket. And they're like, what? You had it? And then like 5 hours later, I was so humbled. I was like, oh, JK, it's in my garage.
Isn't it funny sneaking back into the house, hiding from your kids as an adult?
Dude.
Like
it's
life, full circle.
Seriously. I'm like, all right, okay, don't turn on the microwave. Don't make too much noise.
Get in a little snack.
Yeah. Water. like I was just like straight for water and went to bed. I had to be up at like 7 o'clock for Liv's soccer tournament, and there I had a sleepover. So it was just, we're doing well.
Yeah, I love it. That's on balance. Okay.
Yes. Rachel, what's going on?
Not much. Just working, living. I had a little personal epiphany this week, you guys.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I told you last week how I went out with that guy who's a little bit older. I don't think I told you guys that he did kiss me in the middle of the date, right? Which, this is a tangent for another day, but there's like an epidemic of men in San Francisco that want to kiss on the first date. I'm like, that's not really for me. I'm not talking about like at the end of the date. I'm talking about in the middle of the date. Like at dinner. Like I just met you 60 minutes ago. I have no interest, right? Anyways, so I go out with that guy. He kisses me like in the middle of the date. I haven't figured out yet how to kindly say no when a guy is like, can I kiss you? And I'm not really that into it. So instead, I'm like, sure. And then I let my body language kind of show that I'm not into it. So this man kisses me and I'm like a little like peck, right? And then a few days later, he's texting me like, oh, I've just really been thinking about that kiss, blah, 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 which already it was not a passionate kiss. Okay, it was not. And I've kind of had this realization that I am repulsed by men who are physically attracted to me. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, I could potentially go on another date with him, but as soon as he said that, I was like, that's going to be it. That's a no. That's a no.
That's called problematic.
Yeah, you're repulsed by a lot of guys then.
Well, yeah. So I'm just like, that's a problem for my dating life, that every guy who shows interest in me physically, I'm like, no, right? So I've been reading that book that was actually on our top 8 last week called The Inner Work. And in that book, let me preface this by saying I'm not like a very woo-woo person. So my baseline knowledge of how all of this works is very like not high. So but in the book, it's talking about being like a 3D versus 4D versus 5D person. So it's how you view yourself. Do you view yourself only as a body? Do you view yourself as a mind and a body? Or do you view yourself in 5D as a spirit that's connected to all things? I'm definitely not there yet. But I think that I'm having a hard time now connecting with people physically where I don't have a mental connection.
As it should be.
Right?
I think that is like, talk about like evolving and growth.
Right?
Like, and when people talk about like, oh, the energy, and I know to your point, like, oh, some people like that's so woo woo, but no, it's not. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had, not quite like visceral, but like when you're in someone's presence and it just doesn't feel right. Like it doesn't feel good. That matters.
It
Like
does.
that is telling you something. And I think, I think that we have to pay attention to those cues.
I think like my biggest takeaway is I'm evolving. Thank you. But also the other thing I realized is like I've never had a really amazing sexual connection or relationship with someone who it was like we kissed the first time we met. Or it was instantly physical. Like obviously I've done that stuff before. Okay. Like I'm 36.
She's done,
Hi.
she's done that stuff before.
I've been there. But like in retrospect, as I like take a look at my life, like I look what is that word? I take inventory of my life. As I do that, I'm realizing that the things that were really great and gave me satisfaction didn't start like that. So I think I need to listen to my mind, my body, my soul, and learn to say, no, I don't want to kiss you.
But how would you do that?
I don't know. We got to practice. Heather's got it.
Yeah. So this is, I'm sorry, mom brain. I actually practice this, or I try to be very intentional with my kids about this. Like, I don't think that you should feel bad, or I think it's great that you're working through and that you're trying to like give yourself the tools on how to handle the situation, because I think for women it's so important, and men, I mean just for anyone, like you don't have to grant access to your body to anyone. And if you don't feel comfortable with someone touching you or someone even being in your space, that's okay. And I practice this with my kids, like even if it's relatives, if you don't want to kiss them, if you don't want to hug them, you don't have to. Like, I'll be damned if I'm going to condition my daughter or my son to think that they need to subject themselves to someone else's physical advances, because that is conditioning. And if you're always taught to, that you just have to do it, like that's going to it's not going to end up well for them, and they're going to end up in situations later down the road where maybe it is a hug or a kiss with a relative or whatever, but they're going to be conditioned when they're at that age to have more intimate relationships with people and think that they just have to do it because someone else is pursuing them, and that's not it.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Well, because I think it wasn't something that I mean, I can't tell you. I remember all the time, like, oh, give your aunt a hug, or give your, or tell you, you be being prompted, and at no fault of our parents to think that like that was going to be the result or how it might affect us later on. But I definitely think about that, and I think it's great that you're realizing it now.
Yeah, I definitely think I need to practice. I need to come up with like a canned response for when someone leans in or asks or whatever it is, that I just have something that I can pull quickly that doesn't make me feel any kind of way, that is on the honest truth, but is like, no. Unless I want to do it, and you never know. Like,
did he ask you if he could kiss you?
Yeah, most guys ask these
Which
days.
is good.
Yeah, they say, can I kiss you? But it's like they're already like leaning in. It's not, we're sitting across from each other, can I kiss you? And then it's like a walk over. It's a moment where it's already kind of like you can feel it coming. And then they ask, but it's like your face is already so close to mine. What if
were you guys sitting on the same side at dinner?
We were sitting at the bar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think in that moment I would have just been like, I don't know if you were at sushi or what you're at, but like, you don't want this sushi kiss right now. Just like and I also
take a quick bite.
That's way more lighthearted. Yeah.
I also think that I understand not wanting to like ruin that possible vibe or like what can come of it and make it super awkward, but I'm also kind of here for just like putting your foot down and being like, not yet.
Yeah, actually, not yet is a very good answer.
Like it's okay. Like
I'm gonna write that down.
not yet.
TBD.
What about you, Haley? How was your week?
My week was jam-packed. I worked all week, and then I did this crazy Legree Pilates training all weekend, which was so intense, but I'm really glad I did it. Now I'm certified.
Yay!
After all of you. But I have not taken notes like that since college, and I'm not even sure I can read what I wrote. Like trying to write that fast and like the chicken scratch. And I think from texting and auto correct like texting, I realized I was like skipping over. Like I had to go
Whole
back and like
words.
add O's. I was like, I don't even know how to write anymore. Like this is really bad. But yeah, we like basically did 8 hours of Pilates every single day, and I'm a shell of a human right now. I'm so tired, but worth it.
Yeah, I'm excited to come to LA and take one of your classes eventually.
Yeah,
I
I actually
know.
didn't know the difference with like the reformer and Legree. So basically, Legree is like bodybuilders and Pilates like wanted like a middle ground of like strength training that wasn't bodybuilding and wasn't just like the lengthening. So it's kind of the combination of it. Oh, Heather, but I was telling Rachel earlier, like everyone was super nervous with the headset. I was like, this podcast created a monster because the second I put that mic on, I was like, let's go. I was like, hey,
Cameras are rolling.
the lead shy just like heard my voice on there. And I was like,
Feels right.
all right, ladies.
Do we want to talk about red flags?
Yeah, we can talk about red flags.
What are your friendship red flags?
Okay. I think my first one is kind of two-faced people. I know we have had private discussions on this, but people who sort of shit talk other people and then go hang out with them and like are completely fake about it.
Yep.
That's a huge red flag. And then my other big one is like the type of people who only call you when they need something.
Okay, that was one of mine. A friendship red flag that I've been thinking a lot about is friends who ask for too many favors and are never the ones who are willing to jump in when you might be struggling a tiny bit to be like, oh, hey, how can I help? Like, I feel like that's a lot of people I know. Not a lot, a very specific few, but their energy on that is very heavy. Yeah, just takers in general. Friends who want to take, but they really just don't have much to give. Like, that's a red flag. Those are people that I don't mind letting drop from my life.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with the one about people who talk crap about their closest friends. I actually just had a conversation, and this was brought to my attention. It was kind of like, well, you just don't ever say anything about said person, and it's like, because that's my own personal relationship with said person. Like, I look at you so sideways if you're always coming to me talking about your closest friend or your husband's friend's wife who you spend all this time with, and then the next thing I know, like, she's all over your stories. Like, I don't move funky like that, like, I don't go back to Tiffany or to Kate or to any of my close friends and be like, guess what Rachel did at work today? Like, I don't move that way, and
Thank God.
yeah, well, no, but it's just like, I don't know. That's not it. I have some other ones though. I actually like wrote them down because I really thought about this. So the conditional friends that disappear when in a relationship, like only to come back when it's over. Right. Like, and I think that kind of follows and goes along with the same type of energy when they're just an energy suck. Like,
Yes.
they're getting fed elsewhere. And then when that's over, they like go back to their other sources. And then I also think, kind of getting back to what we talked about earlier, like paying attention to your nervous system and how your body reacts around certain people. I think that is, it's a huge red flag. Like, if you just don't feel good around certain people. And then how people react when you share good news. If someone just can't share in your joy, like, I think that's a huge red flag. Like, you should want your inner circle, you should want your people to be evolving, to be winning, to trying new things, to growth. And if someone can't be excited for you because their life isn't maybe moving in the same direction, or isn't moving, or they're not experiencing a win that day, like, that's not it.
Yeah, I had something written down that actually is very similar to that. And it's people or friends who don't support your new endeavors or experimenting with new things in life.
Yep.
I think as friends, if we see someone moving in a new direction, I don't know if it's like secondhand embarrassment or for like, oh, who do they think they are? It's I actually sent in our group chat, I know that video from this girl named Quinn Valentine on TikTok, and she was talking about something very similar where she had just started posting outfit of the day videos on TikTok. She wasn't that popular. She had about 500 followers. And one of her close friends wrote her via text message and asked, hey, so just out of curiosity, why are you doing this? Like, what do you get out of it? And poor Quinn kind of took that as negativity, right? Instead of being supporting, like, I'm so proud of you, why are you doing this? But luckily, her video kind of blew up and she has now like hundreds of thousands of likes on the video. And it was crazy to me to see how much more support you can get from strangers than people who are closest to you in your inner circle.
I have something to say about that. I think a lot of that comes from jealousy. I think when you see somebody doing it, it's almost like you start to reflect on yourself and like what you're doing, because it's more of like a personal thing, because that person and you see them branching off, and you essentially look at yourself like, what am I doing type of thing. Like, that's kind of how I view that. If you're going out of your way to say something and put somebody down, to me, that's a self-reflection.
Right.
It's projection. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it just like shows like sometimes people's lack of self-belief or willingness to put themselves out there, and your willingness to, it kind of like shines a light on that shadow work that they need to do. And I think that I actually saw this like really good thing. It says people want you to lose because it helps them justify the risk they choose not to take.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that
That's it.
that's a lot of it. It's maybe they love you, maybe they want to support you, maybe it is a little bit of secondhand embarrassment, right? Like there could be that, but I think a majority of it is sometimes people just they are scared to take risk for themselves, and it's projection.
Yeah, I agree. I did, upon thinking about all this, realize that I do also have friends who are working on their own endeavors that I could be supporting better,
Totally.
and I plan on doing that.
100%. I think that like, and going along that same line, like I think that the world is kind of dark right now. I feel like it's kind of like a terrible time and it gets overwhelming. And so I think if you can do little things to make someone else's day better, like if it is, or support someone else's endeavor or repost or talk about it or mention someone's name in a crowded room or a room where there might be an opportunity for them, like you end up at the end of the day adding to your own joy and contentment, because it feels good to do good things for other people.
Mm-hmm. I actually saw, or I posted it a while back, but it was a quote from A$AP Rocky, and he was doing this whole reel, but he said, "Since when has it become cool to not try?"
Oh, 100%.
And I was like, yes.
Yeah, I think the antidote to despair is action, and when you can do little things, it helps.
I love that. I love all of that. Well, now should we get into the advice questions for the day?
Let's do it.
This is like an interesting one. Am I in the wrong for not inviting my friend to my party because she would ruin the aesthetic? Last year, I started an online book club in my city with other women around my age, 29. We're a small group of women who like to read and share our thoughts, especially on historical fiction. I've been seeing a lot of these book balls on TikTok recently, where people throw huge parties and everyone dresses up extravagantly in the theme of the book we're reading. I thought it looked super fun, so I decided to host one for my book club. One of the ladies in my book club is a close friend of mine, Sam, who is also 29. I've known Sam since we were in high school, and I know she is not someone who likes to dress up. I've seen her dressed inappropriately at many events over the years. She's always in sweats or athletic clothes, never does her makeup or hair, just doesn't really care about her appearance for formal events. I put so much time and effort and money into producing this ball, so I wanted everyone to match my effort with the costumes they wore. I knew that Sam would not be willing to dress in theme, so I didn't invite her. After I sent out the invites, everyone bought beautiful, extravagant gowns and accessories, and I got even more excited. Eventually, word somehow made it to Sam, and she confronted me about the event. She asked if I was really hosting a ball for the book club and not inviting her. After hesitating, I said yes, but only because I knew she would never wear a ball gown or put effort into looking good. She said she was upset that I wouldn't want her there even if she wore her regular clothes, and I told her that's not fair, that I put all this effort into a beautiful event where everyone can be a little extra for one day, and I didn't want to ruin the aesthetic. She hasn't spoken to me since then, and the ball was 2 days ago. A success, by the way. Everyone looked amazing. Am I in the wrong for not inviting her because she would ruin the event?
Yeah.
I'd be excited to not be invited to the book. I probably didn't even read the book.
The book balls seem like they're really extravagant,
It
you
was
know?
extravagant, yeah, clearly.
So I think that it takes a lot of time and effort to put something like that together. And I can see where she was coming from, where if everyone is committed to the theme and one person is not, it kind of throws everything off. I think having someone who isn't in theme makes everybody else feel a little weird about being in theme, or no?
People who are going to show up and enjoy it are going to enjoy it whether someone else is dressed up or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well,
I think that person just becomes the outlier and it's just the like, what's cool, bro? You know what I mean?
yeah, well, and if you think about it, like a lot of theme parties will have like you can't get in if you don't have a costume.
And
So
I think that was actually that's a great point. I think the takeaway should have been like, okay, guys, hey Sam or whatever her friend's name is, come, we're doing this party. You're more than welcome, but you can't come unless you're in costume. There just comes a point in time where it's like you got to just let people be themselves and give them the tools, let them know what it is and you know, if they want to suck, let them suck. Like
Yeah, I think the gal who was throwing this party ultimately was trying to avoid confrontation by just not inviting her friend whatsoever, but instead created an even worse situation and scenario for herself. And I think if everyone's part of a book club and you invite everybody minus one person, that's a shitty thing to do.
it
yeah.
is.
Like, there's no way that Sam, the friend, will ever recover from that and feel like she is welcomed into the group. And then also just one person out of costume, it's like that's obviously for social media or like an Instagram moment, right? You could just ask them like, "Hey, you're
Take
not in
the
costume. Can you be the one that takes the picture of all of us, or can you step aside for a second?" Versus,
100%.
completely excluding someone. Okay, I have a question. How do you guys think that she should try and make amends with her friend? Like, what would you do?
You have to acknowledge how you were wrong. You know, you gotta
Mhm.
I think so many relationships can be repaired by admitting your faults, by taking ownership of a poor choice, or just by being more human. I think she needs to probably and not do it over text, like call Sam, have an adult conversation, explain how she felt, and um and I think sometimes too, like when a situation plays out and people go back and they like hear themselves, like they walk themselves through a situation and the decisions that they made, it's really good like self-reflection. You're just like, damn, like I really thought that that was a good decision. Like like I really thought that this was it. Like that's why accountability is so important.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I have an interesting one for you guys today about outgrowing your friends.
Oof.
Okay. Maybe it's partly due to social media, but I feel like I've managed to hold onto a lot of friends from high school and college. I used to love this and pride myself on it, but ever since COVID and entering my mid 30s, I've reevaluated a lot of things in my life and feel like I don't have much in common with some of these friends anymore, or maybe never did. There are select people I enjoy spending time with, but the group hangs and being around certain people feels exhausting to me now. Many are party friends who I always had fun with, but I've outgrown the partying and genuinely don't enjoy it anymore. I wish I could just go to dinner and grab a drink, but it's always an all-night binge with the group, and it's difficult to extract myself or keep making excuses. One friend is having a destination bachelorette soon, and I don't want to go because I don't want to feel like crap for 3 days in a place that could otherwise be a cool trip. I could go and not drink, but it's hard to have fun when the activities planned are just bars and drinking. I keep turning down hangouts and outings, and I feel like I've done a good job distancing myself, but I also feel like at this rate, I'm going to end up losing friends. The problem here is that making all new friends at 35 years old is difficult. I feel like I'm in a weird spot where so many people are coupled up with families and don't have time to spend on forming friendships. I wish I had a partner and a family where I could focus on that too, but I don't. It feels so daunting to have to find and sustain all new friendships on top of dating. Is anyone else in this situation? Have you had success making new friends, or have you just gotten more comfortable with having less friends as you get older? I'm afraid I'm going to end up alone and lonely, but I also want to be true to myself and only focus on fulfilling friendships. What do you guys think?
That's
Yes.
there's layers there.
Yeah.
I just recently moved to a new city just a few months ago, and where I only know a handful of other women. And, there are times where I'm like, oh, I wish I just had a girlfriend that I could call right now and be like, let's go out. And so I've considered, like, I've been on Bumble BFF. I haven't actually successfully gone out with anyone from that, but I think if you're in a city, you could absolutely find new friends, new girlfriends through that. And then I also just think saying yes to any opportunities that come your way to go out with new groups of people. You just have to say yes and, like, keep building
Yeah.
on it and, like, keep going out with new people, because you never know who that new person is going to introduce you to that you might really end up hitting it off with.
Yeah. I completely agree with that because I still consider myself pretty new to LA. And after you moved, I lost
Yeah.
my little buddy. So
Yeah.
I was like, shoot. Like every time I want to go do something, I'm like, I wish you were here. 'Cause
I know.
we were
Sad.
always like the people to go. We were the yes girls.
Yeah. Yes,
We
girls. That's
went
who
to
we were.
everything.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with that because I've kind of had to push myself out and be like, all right, just go try new things. If you meet someone cool, even if I don't really want to go, I'll go. And I've met people through those people. And honestly, I'm finally like living in LA. I feel like the way I should have been this whole time. But yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
that.
I think it definitely takes effort to meet new people. Like, it's not going to be effortless. I don't know. It just depends. Like, are you willing to do something that's difficult and hard and takes effort, but ultimately might pay off with new fulfilling friendships?
Okay. On to the second part of that though,
Yeah.
the like partying hard part. Okay, so I have two things on this because I sometimes have an issue. Like if I'm like going to go drink, like I'm usually like going out, right? So it's probably going to be a night typically because I try not to I don't want to just casually drink every single night or like multiple nights a week. Like I'd rather go out like a night. However, like I have definitely had to cut some party friends out where I'm like, this is just way too much and I don't want this life. Like I can't be around this. I need to be focused. Like this is not me.
I think that there's a difference between someone just being a wet blanket and being like,
Yeah.
not coming home for 3 days on like a crazy bender.
Yeah.
And
Well, that was COVID.
well, I mean,
It didn't
yeah,
count.
that was everyone. Yeah, no. So the part where she talks about, wanting to just go out for a drink and doesn't want to do like an all night binge, I think that there's merit there and that makes sense, if you want to be motivated and focused the next day. I think that a lot of the time we do as we become adult. Well, I mean, in high school, right? Like in school, you forge these friendships because you go to the same school. And then in college, it's like, okay, well, these are the people that are in my dorm or live near me, or it's all of these, like the activities that we're doing. It's how we find our people. So I think maybe she needs to start finding other activities that aren't the bar, whether it's like a women's charity group, or it is taking up a new skill where she's getting certified to be an instructor of some sort, or a book club. Like as we get older, we have to find other ways to insert ourselves in things, and in to find that connection,
Yeah,
right? Like
community, right?
yeah, and I think it's even if you're married, like when I moved to Arizona, like it's not easy finding friends, and I'm not friends with the kids' parents who go to my kids' school. Like I'm not on the, PTP, and I'm not trying to do all that. Like I feel fortunate that I have found my friends, but it's been through that. It's been through charity work or just other like outside networking. The other thing about the bachelorette party, it's like at the same time, I feel like they're just events, if it's not a financial burden to you, or you're not going through some other type of hardship, like go on the damn trip.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to see this city. I don't want to drink in the city for 3 days. I want to go explore. Then add an extra day or two to your trip if you can. Like I don't know. I think that there are some things that are important, and if someone wants you there and they're including you, then that means something. And it's important to show up for people. It's like what you were saying earlier, Rachel. People remember that. Like people remember how you make them feel, how you a friend of mine a few years back, her mom passed away, and I got the details to the funeral, and showed up out of town, showed up in Colorado, just because I just wanted her to know that she was supported. And to this day, she's like, you don't know what that meant for me. And to me, it was just something like, I'm not an immediate part of the family. I just want to go and pay my respects. Um, but people don't forget that. Like people don't forget when you show up for them. So
Yeah. I think that's so true. I do think that it is possible to outgrow your friends, especially like high school and college friends. And there's no commitment to stay close with those friends. But I think something that we all have to practice and get more in tune with is that people are allowed to evolve. You're allowed to evolve. But if someone is your friend, you evolve together, and or you give them space to evolve how they want to, and you learn to just respect them as a human and love them as a human. Maybe these friends were really just party friends, and maybe you actually haven't done much in your life to build relationships, close intimate relationships with people beyond partying. Maybe that's something you need to look at personally.
And
Yeah.
it's like natural to grow apart too.
of
That
course,
happens.
change.
Yeah. Should we get into our final listener advice question?
Yes, 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 yes. Let's do it. How do you get over a friend breakup? I've essentially been ghosted by my former best friend after an incident to which I admit I was at fault. Ever since then, it feels like my life is so different, colorless, almost meaningless. It's been months since she went with no contact, and everything just feels different. I can't feel enthusiastic about my hobbies and interests anymore, and it's made things so awkward in our circle of friends. Have you had a similar experience? How did you get over it? Any tips on not thinking about the breakup and feeling extremely bitter? Okay, so hold on. I want to add to that.
Yeah.
I think that as I'm getting older, I've realized that your friendships are, in many cases, like almost more important than, I mean, nothing's more important than who your spouse is, obviously, because you're building a life with that person. But friendship breakups can be devastating as well. And sometimes more devastating because, maybe that person knows things that your spouse doesn't, or um, I definitely believe in like girlfriend soulmates and just having a deep connection with someone who's just a friend and it has, I mean, there's nothing intimate about it. Um, so I think maybe for some people who don't have deep friendships like this, it could sound a little like, what are you talking about? But if you're fortunate enough to have friendships that are just like soul connection, like this can be really, really devastating for some people.
Yeah. I think that as women, well, not just as women, but as all people going through life, it can be really hard when someone that you lean on to be there for you and you're having, a bad time and going through a hard time. Um, and like, I know that we were using the word intimacy, but the word intimacy, it doesn't always have to mean romantic
Right.
intimacy, right? So, you can have a close, intimate, non-romantic relationship with people, and when they're gone, that can be devastating. It does seem that this person who wrote in for advice is going through a really hard time trying to navigate what their life looks like without this person, and sort of fill that space. My one friendship breakup, shockingly, I don't really have that much drama with people. Like I'm pretty much friends with everyone that I get close with, but I do have one friend who I was actually like the maid of honor in her wedding. And then after that, she just stopped responding to my text messages, or like my reach outs. It was so strange. I was even like writing her husband being like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And he wasn't responding. So I never like found out if it was something that I specifically did or what the situation was. And in that situation, it was more just confusing and strange, just a strange behavior. I think about her like all the time, probably like, once a week. Like, I wonder how she is. Should I try reaching out? Especially now that I live up in the Bay Area and I'm like closer to her physically, like could potentially go see her much more easily. Um, but yeah, it's definitely like I saw something that on TikTok or somewhere that was, you guys know the Roman Empire thing,
Yeah.
like how men are constantly thinking about the Roman Empire and no one knew. I saw something that women's Roman Empire is the one friend that they like broke up with and don't talk to
Oh,
anymore.
wow.
It's true. We're constantly thinking about them.
That's crazy.
What do you think, Kaylee?
Well, I have some experience with this. Recently, I've had that friendship breakup happen. And yeah, it's really hard. Obviously, I miss that friend a lot, but we got
Was
into a little spat. There was some drama. We got into a little spat. And basically, what happened was I couldn't really get a word in and said the one thing like I knew would like hit below the belt and got blocked immediately. And there's obviously like I would have apologized for the comment. I definitely didn't mean it. And but there's just like no way to even like own it or apologize. Um but to speak on like missing that friendship, yeah, of course I do. I think the only way I've been able to handle it is just like giving that person space and kind of letting them decide how they want to handle it because I clearly can't do anything and I'm not going to force some kind of mend of a friendship that if they don't even want to have a conversation, then to me that says a lot about what the friendship actually was. I guess that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I've just sort of been focusing on myself and my other relationships that I guess I'd rather give more time to at this point. Um, but yeah, in the past, I mean, I've had friendships that have grown apart. And it's just, I think friendships from like growing up are kind of tricky because obviously like a lot of my friends are in Ohio or like somewhere else. And it really is a two-way street because like a lot of times I'll feel guilty that maybe I didn't do enough. Like I haven't like reached out enough or kept in contact enough. But then I think about it and I'm like, well, they didn't either. And like we both have like busy lives. We're like, I don't really think it would be weird if we saw each other, but I don't know. It's just like those friendships from like 10 years ago that just have really kind of like fizzled. I don't know. It's a weird thing to think about, I guess.
Yeah. I think to answer the question, how do you get over it? I think that we never really get over a friendship breakup. Like there's always going to be something that remains. There's always going to be some sort of feelings, and there's always going to be some sort of lesson that we learned, whether we treated someone incorrectly or if we could have handled the situation better, or if it's time to grow with someone or let them go. Like there's just so much there. And I don't think we ever really get over it.
I think that accountability is just so important. As I get older and as I haven't really had any. Well, actually, I've had, I want to say like maybe like two major friend breakups in my life. One of them being the same person that Rachel's talking about, but yeah, like I think that just being accountable is so important. And as for this person, when she's saying that there's just like a loneliness and a void, um, yeah, like if she's in the wrong, then I feel like it's never not worth trying to make the situation better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like, I mean, I think timing's everything, but I
It
do
is. It's
think
important.
it's never like too late. Like a friend isn't like a relationship where they're going to go marry someone else. Like there's always time to fix something, in my opinion.
I agree.
Do you guys think that men and women can be friends when they're in relationships with other
Yes,
people?
I do. But I have heard, okay, guys are always like, no guy wants to just be your friend.
Right.
But maybe that's true. I don't know. I have guys that I'm just friends with. So
Yeah.
for me, yes. For them, maybe not. I don't know.
I definitely have like a lot of guy friends. Just I think I grew up with brothers, so it's like I just always was around guys. And I will say I do believe the majority of them would fuck me if they had the chance. So
Yeah.
She said it. Yeah,
they would.
Matt always says, I actually have a ton of guy friends,
Yeah.
and like they all know Matt, and Matt has basically become friends with all of them. So there's definitely that. Um, and the ones that come to mind is like genuine, just like that's like my guy friend. Like I've never slept with them, never been like, oh, we like kind of dated or we didn't, we tried and it didn't work out. Like there's also been none of that. So like I'm a group, like BK, for instance, like
Mm-hmm.
Matt and I are on a group chat with him, and him and Matt have their own friendship. And like I just went back to the Bay Area for the holiday with the kids, and another good guy friend of mine from high school, Scotty. Like I just went and hung out with him and his wife, and our kids are all the same age, and so that was just like it was like such a full circle heartful moment to see someone that like literally taught me how to drive at a cemetery. He taught me how to drive stick at a cemetery. He's like, well, can't get it any worse. You're not gonna hurt anyone. To like see our kids play. But yeah, I feel like most guys always say like guys can't be friends with girls.
Well, my ex, all of his girlfriends, he had either slept with or made out with. So
yeah, see, that's not
like,
come on.
Yeah.
funny.
That's interesting. I've the only like side note, BK and I are starting like a little supper club.
Yeah, are you serious?
Yeah,
I love
the night that we were all together a couple weeks ago, I had a few drinks and I was like, hey, like we need to hang out, but I can't do any more bender nights in the marina. I'm like, we got to do something like civil, kind of
Yeah.
like what this other girl wanted.
Yeah.
And I set my boundaries and I made something happen. So we're starting like a little dining club here in San Francisco.
I love this.
Yeah, it should be fun. But besides for that was a side note. So listeners, stay tuned. I'll let you know where we end up going. But I have had one situation where I was friends with a guy. We had worked together. Um, he got a new girlfriend and she made him stop being friends with me. And he literally like had to write me a text message. I was like, "Hey, my girlfriend says we can't be friends anymore." I was like, "You know what? That's fair. Fair enough."
Yeah.
Also, I just moved to New York, so I was like, "Bye bye. It's whatever." It wasn't the end of the world.
I think it's a case by case scenario. I don't think you can just make like blanket statements like that.
Yeah.
Sweeping.
Yeah. Should we do our top 8?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, my first one is actually a show.
Oh, good.
Paris in Love with Paris Hilton. It's the best show ever.
Okay, Haley loves Paris Hilton.
Love. I fucking love her. Her and her mom, her dynamic with her family is so hilarious. And her mom on there is just like, oh my, you just have to watch it. It's on Peacock. If anyone wants to watch.
I know.
I also highly recommend her cooking show.
Have you done any of the recipes, or is it just like
No, it's just entertaining.
Oh no,
Okay.
they're bad, Heather. They're bad.
Okay.
They're like they're on a whole level, different level of bad.
It's so funny though.
Silver tip Christmas trees are kind of like my new obsession.
Oh.
They're the ones with a lot of space in between the branches.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm kind of like
I
into
like them.
empty space right now.
I
think they're really beautiful. I'll give one more. The New York Times Connections game. Have you guys been playing that?
No, but
What?
I saw something about this.
Yeah. Okay. So it's this game on the New York Times website in the game section. They do one every day and they give you 16 words and then you have to pair the words into groups of 4 based on some sort of theme or connection. Some are hard, some are like easier, but it's such a fun game.
I like that. So I have one that is not a product, but I just found him. He was suggested to me on my feed, and I'm pretty sure his name is pronounced Diaz, but it's Deyaz. And he has a new EP out called Transparency, and he is so good. He has like, I don't know, he's from like over the pond somewhere, and he has just like face tats, and he has like this total bad boy like look to him, but then he has this like soft, gentle voice, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. He's so good. And he's
I
like,
can't wait to listen.
And he's like blowing up out of nowhere. Like I feel like I found him, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and he was at like 75, 100,000, and now he's at like 400,000 followers. And
that I love watching people blow up. And
so you know who I watched blow up the same way?
Who?
Teddy Swims. And like I just finally went to his concert a few months ago, and it was so amazing. I was like almost in tears just out of like the joy, like just swaying by myself after being like 3 margaritas deep. Oh my gosh, it was such an awesome concert. And it was like intimate. It was so good. So I'm here for it. Yeah, it was like it was real joy.
It was like me with my Freddie boy, Fredigan.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's another level.
Ben was like, "Stop acting like you discovered him."
My girlfriend,
I signed him.
My girlfriend Jessica actually like has gone mini viral because her boyfriend, now her boyfriend Matt, like proposed to her at the Fredigan concert.
In LA. The one in LA?
Yeah, with like the sunflower.
I saw that. Yes, you knew them.
Yeah, her and I used to dance together. We used to like dance on the Warriors like over a decade ago, and I love it, and I'm here for it. I'm like, feel all the love. I think it's beautiful.
You guys know the brand Vela eyewear?
Yeah, I didn't know that's how you say it, but yeah,
Vela. I looked it up.
Okay, yeah.
They have this new frame out called Billy, and it is giving me Paris vibes.
Paris Hilton.
They're really cute. You should look it up, Billy. They're like in this like honey color, but they're like very Y2K-esque. But
I love that. Cool. Okay, my last thing that I have is Olaplex purple shampoo. I'm a new convert to this. Only us fake blondes will really know the need for purple shampoo, but I feel like in comparison to other purple shampoos I've used before, this one is really good. So
Did you use it now?
check it out. Yeah, I used it this morning.
Yeah, your hair looks very white blonde.
It's like very shiny. It like really zaps the yellow right out of it. What if my hair looks yellow right now on camera? Okay.
No, it doesn't. It looks very white.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and not take that recommendation.
I do have one more.
Okay.
This is a product that I just got from Amazon. It's like a mouth rinse, but it's a whitening, non-toxic, what's it called? Lumino. And there's like it doesn't like make your teeth sensitive, no peroxide, enamel safe. All the things you need.
Let's see your teeth, Haley. Smile big. Cute.
But actually I've only been using it like a week and I've noticed a difference. So
okay, well maybe I
I
need
coffee,
to get some.
So yeah.
Me too.
Gotcha.
Who's your audacity of the week? The audacity of the week. I have one.
Go.
Kanye motherfucking West. The audacity of this man. He will not get off any of my feeds, like whether it's news, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. If I'm just perusing, trying to like look at some girls' outfits online, it's all just Kanye West, the audacity. It's like, get off my feed. I don't want it.
I don't want it. Well, the algorithm thinks you do.
I know. What does that mean about me? Do I need to do work?
You need to get that. You need to get to that level 5.
Yeah.
You guys, my friend that's staying with me right now, the other day I was like, hey, let me see your TikTok algorithm. Like, get it out. And he's like, nope.
Oh.
Absolutely not. And I was like, what you looking at? He's like, nope. No.
Says a lot about the person.
Wait,
he wanted to see your. Okay.
No, I asked to see his.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any guy's Instagram search page and see what's on there.
Exactly.
Oh,
like a man's explore page or his TikTok algorithm.
What is
exposed?
Red flag.
What does it say about a man who has like a bunch of stuff about like parenting who's not a parent?
He's got a kid somewhere.
And he's not a parent?
That he knows of.
Probably subconsciously. That's so funny. Anyways, go ahead, Haley.
Okay, mine is a positive one. The girls that did that training, it's really cool because they just like created such a welcoming environment and didn't make it like it was just very supportive. And I think it's really cool that they train other trainers, so you don't have to train with their studio, which isn't that common. And they kind of went over the fact that when they started, they had no support and just really gave us like the ins and outs and just so much good advice about like kind of starting your own business. And they were just awesome. So
love that.
I love that. That's great. That's really good. Mine is it's not a person, it's not a product. Mine is just father time. Like, my goodness, my son turns 10 today, and I have been kind of like going back and reevaluating a lot in my own life, how I spend my time, my relationships, like how intimate I am, emotionally, how fulfilling my relationships are, or not. And I just think that, it's really important to remember that time is fleeting, and day to day things might not feel like anything's changing. And all of a sudden you're sitting there, 10 years later, and it's like everything has changed. And I don't know, just being like really, really present, because man, I cannot believe I have a 10-year-old like that. It's wild.
The audacity,
like
of time passing,
the idea, like the audacity of just squandering time.
Yeah.
Like people, I have a friend right now who's going through cancer, and it was really unexpected, and it was such a blessing that they found it. But, just like the audacity to squander time, like man, it goes fast.
Bro, that was heavy.
Like, on that note,
I know
about my life right now. I'm like, I need to be way more productive today.
Well, it's just, it's important. I think it's like
call my dad. Well, on that note, listeners, thank you so much for joining us again today. Episode 3. I hope you're enjoying watching us get better at podcasting every time, every day.
I hope we're getting better at
I
podcasting.
think we are. I think we're getting so much better.
Maybe we just like to hear ourselves talk.
Well,
I
anyways.
Clearly.
Like, well, thank you for your support, and we can't wait to talk to you again next week.
Bye.
Bye, y'all. Bye.
Bye.